YOLO, my fellow human beings, and welcome to episode 24 of The Best Blessed Life. I'm your best host, Kristen, and today's topic is about you from the beginning. Before we get started, I want to thank you all for watching. Please continue to watch, comment, share, like, subscribe, ring the bell. Please pass them along to anyone you think that they may help. And with that being said, I also want to welcome all newcomers. Thanks for joining us today. All right, I want to go over the challenges. Oop, there goes my pencil. I like to check off stuff. Broke. Anyway, I like to go over the challenges. I have two that we've pretty much had from the beginning, which is our workout savings account. I'm calling mine Moolah for Maui. You call yours whatever you want your goal to be. At the end, you want that to be significant enough so that when you look back at it, you go, hey, I accomplished that. It's really awesome. It's a good feeling. The next one is 21 days, or hopefully 365 days of gratefulness. That's 3 things you're grateful for every day, rain or shine, good or bad, no matter what mood you're in. I know sometimes it's hard to come up with new ones, but maybe it's something that's been there all along and you just kind of, forget about it for a bit. So maybe bring up something you've been grateful for in the past. The other one is eliminate bad or add good, and that's a behavior or a habit, whatever you want to call them. We either want to eliminate a bad one altogether or at least add a good one to the bad one. And I'll go over that more as we go along. And the other one is evaluate and stretch, and we've done that before. But I want to just kind of remind you how to do that for yourself. Okay, and then the other thing was I asked you a question on Facebook and Instagram. If you're not following me yet, you can follow me on Facebook at Kristen, Kristin, Hass, Hass, and you can follow me on Instagram at the Best Blessed Life. And I asked a question. So the question was, and I wish I would have worded it differently, and I apologize for that. I worded it such as, what would it take for you money-wise to exercise outside, and how much would it take for you to work out inside? And when I should have said, what monetarily motivates you to get outside and work out. And I think the temperature at the time was frigid, if not below zero, and we had 2 feet of snow on the ground, so that was an added factor to take into consideration. And some people who are diehard workout people just said it doesn't take anything. I love the energy and the adrenaline and all that other stuff I get from working out, and how much better it makes me feel. So that's what I get out of it. But other people said no amount of money would get me outside. One of them being my daughter. And I said, what if you were in charge of exactly what exercise you did, for how long, and whatever amount of money? So that's kind of where I was going with that question, and it kind of fell flat. But I do want to continue asking questions on Facebook and Instagram, so please check out for those. And give me some good feedback. I'm doing some research and development. I really want to get to know as much about you guys as possible. Okay? All right. The next thing I want to go over is the word of the day, positive word of the day, which is hope. To cherish a desire with anticipation. And you know me, I have to break down a word when it looks crazy. And I look at anticipate as anticipation. So why am I against suppation or suppating? And I went to look up suppation or suppating, and it doesn't really have a meaning to it. So I say to myself, what about those other words that end in suppate or suppation, like participation and emancipation? And I wonder. I want to know what he means. Okay. I'm also bringing back fun coffee facts. And I got these from a website called SheLovesNiceThings.com. And she had 10 on there, but I only took a few. So the first one was coffee is considered an aphrodisiac, which I did not know. The next one is, if you drank coffee back in the day, and I'm saying like the 1500s, priests believed that it was the drink of the devil. So I would be super duper possessed, I think. And would need massive amounts of exorcisms. Couldn't think of the word. Okay, next ones. This one really was fascinating to me. A single acre of coffee trees can yield close to 10,000 pounds of coffee cherries, which is like the part picked right off the tree, which converts to 2,000 pounds of coffee beans. So you went from 10,000 to 2,000, which is a big jump. But it's still a ton of coffee. Get it? I'm telling you, I laughed my ass off on that one. I thought I was so hilarious. Anyway. There are only two places in the United States that can grow coffee. One is the territory of Puerto Rico, and the other one is Hawaii. Germany is the second largest coffee consumer, which I found really interesting. I guess I don't consider Germany big coffee drinkers, but apparently I was wrong. And half of those people that drink coffee drink it with some sort of sweetener in it. Compared to the United States, it's only at 27%. So I found that pretty interesting as well, considering, I don't know, do they consider those like fruity frozen things coffee too? Because I would think they'd have to kind of almost have their own category. And then I think we'd be higher than 27% personally. But that's my own. I don't really consider that they have a lot of coffee in them anyway, so. But they taste really good. All right, the next one is that the word coffee derives from the Latin for a genus of trees. So if you have a field of coffee trees, do you have a genus of coffee trees? Or coffee? Or trees? If coffee means genus of trees, if you have coffee trees, coffee. Anyway, sorry. I got off on a tangent on that one. Okay, now this one you need to be sitting down for, because this one shocked the crap out of me. And it was people who get their AM coffee in the drive-thru on the daily basis. So they're talking, I'm guessing, 5 days a week. Spend around 45 hours in the drive-thru line just for coffee. That was mind-boggling to me. I can't imagine spending, if you think about it, that's a week's worth of work, roughly, right? And if you think about how much you work a year, you only get 2 weeks paid vacation typically. Think about spending 1 whole week of your vacation in line for coffee. That just, boy. I can't imagine that. I'm glad I make most of mine at home. I do enjoy a good coffee beverage, but the line is one thing that deters me. And the last thing, and I think I've mentioned this before, is the secondly most traded commodity behind petroleum. Alrighty. Got those out of the way. Next thing I'm going to mention is I'm going to be off next week to get my blog all ready to go, and I'm going to give you a date. So again, if you're following me on Facebook and Instagram, I'll probably announce it. I do believe it's going to be around March 13th. But I want to let you know the next episode. So I will keep you posted on that. And while I'm off, I'm hoping to get more episodes out. I'm breaking my pencil. Out on Spotify as well. So hopefully, even if you can't watch them, maybe you can listen and maybe watch them back when you get home. Some things don't necessarily need to be seen, and some things you actually need a visual on, especially for this episode. So anyway, with that being said, I think I've covered everything. I even check marked it off. I didn't want to miss a single thing. Okay. All right. Now that for the first 23 episodes, per se, would give you all of myself out there. I mean, I went through some things and told you a little bit about how I could help you and that kind of thing. So this episode, I want to be about you and me getting to learn as much about you guys as possible. So I'm trying to get, and these are all questions that are hopefully going to give me a baseline on most people. Again, this is research and development to figure out what makes the most sense. And if we can figure this out together, I figure out working together as a group, we can figure out so much more than alone. Believe me. So, with that being said, let's get into the fun facts about you. I'm very interested to hear some of your answers. So please, if you think they're significant or questions that you want to ask that aren't even on here, please shoot me any kind of question you want. If I don't know the answer, I will get it for you. Okay? And I'm going to talk about my qualifications a little bit later on. So the first question is, if you are looking to be healthier, what are you willing to do within your life's changing up your schedule, something of that nature? What are you willing to do to make that possible? So if you have a busy schedule, are you willing to wake up a half an hour earlier? Or are you looking to maybe work out late at night? It doesn't have to be about working out. Healthier means eating well. That means getting mentally in a good place. So there's a lot of things to being healthier that we don't always think about when we're working on ourselves. Okay? All right, the next question is, what do you think eating healthy means? I mean, for some people, healthy might mean one thing, and for other people, you're just like, you're crazy. My healthy is this or that. I'm not even going to say anything because everybody's where they live has something to do with it, how they were raised, cultural things take precedence a lot of times. So think about what works and what is healthy eating for you. What does that mean? All right, the next thing. How do you plan in this implementation of changing up whatever? How does that look a year from now? So I want to take this plan of healthier, and when you look back in the rearview mirror a year from now, what are you going to say that you accomplished? What is it that's going to make your life better? That's what I want to know. I want to know everybody's individual thing. Like, do you think just trying to walk more places or ditching the elevator and taking the stairs? There's so many different things you can add to your schedule that don't take up any more time or any more money. So think about those. And if you look back a year from now, can you say, hey man, I accomplished something really awesome and I know I can continue to keep doing that. Okay. Next. What one nice thing, but maybe you can think of more, would you say about yourself? So I'm trying to figure out how positive you are about you. Can you think of something that comes naturally, is just off the cuff? Well, yeah, I'm super friendly. I'm easy to talk to. I will show up for any friend no matter what. So those kinds of things. I want to know those. All right, next. Keep in mind, these are all baseline questions. What do you do for fun? And again, I'm thinking like your level of fun might be way more extreme than mine. So if you're thinking you're getting fun, you might actually be getting exercise. So that's kind of what I'm trying to get at. Like, are you thinking that exercise will be something that will be extra? Or will it be something that you can use instead of? Like that fun thing, can it be your fun thing and your exercise? You never know. All right. Okay, so what do you consider exercise? I mean, like I said, for the fun part, that could be your exercise if you're extreme enough and you're moving enough and you're sweating your ass off. Maybe your fun is your exercise. That would be great. And if you add exercise to that, holy moly, it'd be unstoppable. All right. Do you think what you are doing now in all of your aspects of your life, and I want you to think of all, not just physical, but mental and emotional and all that other jazz, the whole kit and caboodle, do you think it's working for you? I mean, it has to be one cohesive unit, right? Because we're one person. We can't divide ourselves off in all kinds of directions. So, is the whole thing working? Next question. What would you do if fear was not a factor and you couldn't fail? Like, what would be the ultimate goal for you, I guess? Where do you see yourself if you had no limitations? I can't even think of that. That's crazy. All right, next. What causes you stress? Now, we all know everybody has a different level of stress. Some people only stress about personal things. Some people only get stressed about work. Some are just stressed all the time. Worry, stress, anxiety, I feel like they all kind of roll into one big ball. So I want to know because it helps or hurts the energy level. It helps or hurts with the metabolism, with how you process food, all kinds of things. So I want to know what you're thinking. Okay, next. Are you proud of the person you are? I want to know what your comfort level or your confidence level is in yourself. Where do you think of... And I don't want you to go... I want you to think about all your positive attributes and just go, can I say that I am overall a good person? And does that make me proud? Okay. What would you want someone saying about you at your funeral? So during the eulogy, what are you going to want to hear? Like, are you going to hear everybody say, well, she was kind, she was forgiving, she gave you the shirt off her back? What is it that you would love to hear? And make it true. Like, you don't want to hear it because that's just what people say at funerals. You know? What is it you want to make happen? So that when the words are actually said, they actually mean something. Okay. That's when I have a hard time with, because it feels like this is like a wish list and never happens. But what would you want your superpower to be? I feel like I can't fathom what I would want my superpower to be because it's not something that can be attainable. So I think of a superpower as something humanly possible, but some people think of it as flying or mind reading or I don't know. I can't think of any. Teleportation? I'm going to ask a question about that in a few minutes, so hang on. Who do you view in your family as your role model? Your role model only. I mean, not only, but pertaining to you alone. Like, you can look at somebody in your family and go, oh my gosh, everybody admires them. They're so, proud of everything they've done. But what does somebody in your family do for you that you're just going, their job is something you connect with, or maybe just the vibe they are as a person, like you see them as a more spiritual being, so maybe you connect with that portion. Maybe just overall just comfort with themselves, that can be attractive. Not in a sense that you're like attracted, but the role model aspect. And sometimes it has to do with like the pride they take in who they are, so you might consider that aspect too. All right. Is failure less, more, or the same importance as success? And I've been racking my brain with this, and I said failure is far more important to me because I feel like I learned from that. Whereas success, I feel sometimes you relax. You're like, I'll just ride it out. I've succeeded at this, but I don't feel like I would be that way either. Even in success, I would feel like I need to keep learning and understanding, or my success might turn into a failure. So I feel like that is always there. So I don't know. Maybe they are equal. I don't know if I helped with that one at all, or it just made it more confusing. All right. After a horrible day, do you want to eat a nice meal, or do you want to cozy up with a movie? And there's only two answers because I feel like it's either telling me how you handle stress. Do you eat it, or do you kind of want to relax and let it go and take your mind off of it? So that's kind of where I want to go with that question. Okay, if you could have any talent, what would it be? Any talent. I say mine would be singing. And I want to sing like, oh my gosh, I want to sing like Pink, Adele, Kelly Clarkson, all rolled up into one. Kesha. I think they're all phenomenal. Oh my gosh. I would love to see a Pink concert. Anyway, what is any talent? It can be anything. What would you want that talent to be? Now, see, that's something that might, not for me anyway, might be obtainable for some people. Okay, here's the teleportation question. If you could teleport anywhere, where would you go? And I think if you can bring things other than yourself, but I guess you could teleport back and forth. I was thinking about luggage. I would go to like Australia or Japan, or I think I would go to Greece. Some places I would never go just because I can't handle being in an airplane for, oh my gosh, a day. I can't imagine doing that. And then enjoying all my time there to just think about doing that. Because there's my stress level. Travel is one of them. Don't know why. Couldn't tell you. It just does. Anyway. What are some healthy habits you have now? Okay, so think about anything you think you're doing for yourself, even if it's just I brush my teeth every day, or I go for a walk after lunch at work and I take the stairs, or something of that nature. What is it that you are doing now, and what could you add to that to make it an even bigger gesture, like making your healthier habit to go a step further? So not only did you walk after lunch, but you had a really healthy lunch as well. So tag that along. Or what can you take away? Like, we know we were talking about eliminating the bad and adding the good. That's what I'm saying. What can you eliminate now? You realize that you're doing everything else healthy for yourself. It's time to push that out. It's time to get rid of it. It doesn't make any sense to you. It's not bringing you any joy. It's not helping you get healthier. You're making yourself sicker, in fact. So why? Why do you want it in your life? Not so much want, but why do you need it if it's making you feel bad? Okay. And then, do you feel like you drink enough water? And I don't mean your 8-ounce glasses. I mean, in general, do you think on the whole you drink enough water? And I'm going to say if my water brown, coffee, yes, I probably get more than enough. But if you're just talking about clear water, I definitely need more clear water. In the winter months, I would say in the summer I drink quite a decent amount of water, but I am pretty poor at it in the winter time, and I'm not really sure why. So these are things to analyze. See, that just triggered something I didn't think about before. I guess for the most part it's because in the winter I'm cold, and I would rather drink warm beverages than cold ones. All right. And before I ask the last question, I'm going to list my qualifications. Remember, I'm all certified in personal training, sports performance, corrective exercise, sports nutrition, what am I missing? Fitness nutrition, which I think is different. I learned them from 2 different companies, so I got good stuff to work with from both places. And then I also have a certification in health coaching. I know I mentioned it before, but I just wanted to throw it out there before I ask this last question. What would you like to ask me? Now, the reason I reiterated all the things that I know, worked hard at to learn, has made me somewhat of a person that takes some good and some bad. And I don't mean bad, but I mean, like, I think I've found a balance. Not a perfect balance by any means, and always we are works in progress. So understand that for whatever reason, I've been there and done a lot of the things food related wise. Yes, I've starved myself. Yes, I've eaten my, fill in all kinds of things that are supposed to be healthy for me. And I find that you need to find your balance. And that's all I'm here. All I'm trying to do is help you find that balance. I'm not saying you have to be healthy 24/7. Nobody is. And if they are, oh my gosh, more power to you, and please train me. But nobody can be perfect all the time. I think we have to realize that we all have flaws, and we all just have to deal with them as we go along. Okay, now the last things I talked about on here, the challenges, was evaluate and stretches. So that's what we're going to do before we go. So the things I want you to think about when you're evaluating your posture, the way you sit, the way you stand. Oh, please constantly remember you should be feeling equal amount of pressure when you're sitting on both cheeks so that the hip balance is good. You should be sitting up nice and tall, and again, that's hard to do. You saw me doing this, and I'm on a bar stool, so I hate these things. They're not comfortable. My feet don't reach the floor. They're constantly sliding up the pegs. So find a seat where you have your feet flat on the floor and think about how you should be sitting in that chair. Okay? And then the same goes for when you're standing. And I noticed myself, I correct a lot of my shoulders while I'm walking more than when I'm sitting. So that's why I'm asking you to maybe stand. So I'm going to do that now. And I'm going to move the chair out of the way so that I have more room to move. Okay. So, and then once I show you kind of how I readjust, how I'm standing and my posture, I'm going to go right into the stretches. So typically, when I'm evaluating what I'm doing, when I'm walking, I want to make sure I'm not curling in on myself. So you want to bring those shoulders out. Sometimes just kind of stretching mid-walk helps with that. I noticed that helped me more when I was doing the longer walks and I noticed my neck and my shoulders and everything were starting to hurt, well, I was walking like this by the time I got home. So I noticed that if I did some stretches or some circles or any kind of readjustment, it corrected me so that I wasn't feeling all of that stress in certain areas. Our bodies always overcompensate for body parts. Say a broken leg, you always compensate. Your one leg is always compensated for the other one. So when the broken leg is fixed, it's now time to get them to work together, and the other one's still kind of taking over. So those are things that we got to remember, like hip flexors. I have very tight hip flexors. I tend to tuck in my butt, and we need to remember to keep that curvature in our spine. And so now what I want to do is kind of end this with a nice set of stretches. So we've been through these before, I think, but I want to go through them with you again. You bring that straight arm across your body, doesn't matter which one, and the other one is going to curl in around your elbow to keep that arm straight. Lower the shoulder. Keep the knees bent a little bit. Don't lock them. You want to be about hip distance apart with your feet, and they should both be facing forward. And if you have balance issues, take your shoes off and get flat on the floor with your feet. A floor with no carpeting, by the way. Okay, sorry. And then you're going to slide that bent arm down the straight arm to get a little bit more of a stretch all the way down. Okay? You're going to take that straight arm up, over. You're going to start patting yourself on the back. And with that other arm, you want to grab that elbow, and you're going to tip. Remember, when you're tipping off to the side, you want to make sure you're not leaning too far forward or too far back. And readjust. Hold them for about 5 or 10 seconds. If you're feeling really good in the stretch, hold it for a little bit longer. We're switching to the other side, so straight arm across, lower the shoulder, bring that arm in. Don't forget, we got to keep those knees bent. Slide that arm down your other arm. You should feel a stretch all the way down. Okay, then up and over. Be sure to grab that elbow. So you should feel a stretch on the back of your arm, and then tip. Tip the body just on the upper portion. Don't lean the whole body over. We're not doing a whole lean. All right, then we're going to climb the rope. And I just want you to move the upper part. Again, just stretching out those sides, reaching up. Stretching is the best part of working out, I'm going to tell you right now. Gets those muscles elongated. And now I want you to grab your right wrist with your left hand. And again, we're just tipping over. But with a gentle pull, you'll start to feel the sensation of stretching all the way down to about your hip. Just with this gentle pull. So no heavy yanking on your arm like you're trying to pull it out of the socket. And then you're going to come up. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. And breathe. Remember, we're trying to breathe through this. We're not trying to hold our breath. Stretches are holy. Stretching is not for holding your breath. You need to let everything stretch, including your lungs. Come up. Now we're going to stretch the chest, palms facing forward. Just a little bit of a bounce. I like to get a little bit of a stretch. And then you're going to turn them, palms facing back. Get a little bit more of a stretch that way. Then you're going to interlock your fingers. Don't turn your body. I'm just trying to demonstrate. And you're going to interlock your fingers, pull down to stretch the shoulders, and then pull out and away to get more of the chest and up into the neck. Remember, we're still keeping a good distance apart. You should still feel equal pressure in both feet. All right. And then if you can, hang on while we do this next part with the interlocking fingers. If not, just go ahead and you're going to fold your body in half, right at the waist. And what I want you to consider is the top part of your body is just a rag doll. If you have a stability ball, this is a good time to get that. You can roll over the top of that, just let the whole body dangle. That's even nicer. But if you're just at work and you need to stretch out, just let that body hang. You don't want it to tense up anywhere. And then you're going to slowly roll up, one vertebrae at a time, kind of still reaching for the floor, even though you're coming up out of that stretch. And then I like you to take your arms out in front of you, press, right? We're going to stretch the chest even more. We're going to circle around. That one's always great. And then we're going to squat a little bit further and take our feet a little bit wider apart, hands on our knees, and we're going to lean to one side so that one leg is completely straight and the other one is bent. Kind of push your tushy out a little bit. You're going to feel that inner thigh stretch. Then we're going to come up. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. And because the stretch is so good for the inner thigh, and I feel like with us all sitting so much more now, I like to do this one twice, 2 times in a row. I want to really get that inner thigh stretched out. Helps with sciatica, just helps with so many things. And then come up and hit that other side. All right. Then come up. All right. Then you're going to take your feet. If you need something to balance, because we're going to be on one leg, you're going to hold your other foot behind you. If you're not sure or uncomfortable about any of that, don't do this stretch. Okay? So we're going to bring that foot, and you're going to make your knees even. You're going to bring that foot up behind you, right next to your gluteus maximus. And you kind of want to envision both knees right next to each other and just gently pull that foot up. And it should stretch out the hip flexor. And let's try the other side. So grab the foot. If you need something to balance with, hang onto the countertop or a chair. If it's a computer chair and it rolls away, I wouldn't hang on to that one. Okay. All right, last one we're going to do is we're going to do some shoulder rolls. My S's are not working today. We're going to roll back. Really make them grandiose. Remember, we still want our feet hip distance apart. I like to do 4 or 5 of these in a row. And then we're going to bring it forward, round it out. Really pull the shoulder blades apart. Really bringing those elbows up and around kind of helps. All right, and one more. And then again, we're going to do that press and lean into it, round the back. And then we're going to make a nice big circle around. And that's it, guys. Thanks for joining me so much. I really appreciate it. I hope you got some good information from me. If not, please shoot me a question in the comment section. I'd be more than happy to help you guys out. And with that being said, I want you to go have a good day. Go do great things. Be your best self. And please live your best blessed life. Thanks for watching. Bye.